Asmodeus, the Prince of Lust, a dark journey through temptation, ruin, and the eternal dance of desire, beneath the flickering shadows of eternity, where the light of creation first split the darkness, there was a whisper, a breath of heat that no mortal tongue could name. It was not yet a demon, nor a god, nor anything that dared to stand in the light. It was hunger. It was need. And it was born in the silent spaces between creation's first heartbeats. This was Asmodeus. The ancients would say he was there before the first sin was ever committed, a coiling darkness woven into the tapestry of existence. They gave him many names. Ashma, the demon of wrath in the east, the spirit of perverted fury who devoured the hearts of men. In the oldest scrolls of Persia, they spoke of him as the spark of ruin in every lover's eyes. But it was in the hot sands of Babylon that he first took form, a figure of flickering shadows and molten light. His laughter echoed in the chambers of kings and concubines, a melody of seduction that slipped between their dreams like poison. Asmodeus was not born of the flesh. He was born of the ache in the flesh, of the yearning that no mortal could name. His touch was a fire that danced along the soul, leaving it raw and trembling. His breath was a perfume that clung to the skin long after he was gone. In those ancient days, mortals feared him, but they could not resist him. He came to them in the night, his eyes like dying embers, his hands weaving illusions of ecstasy. He spoke in the voice of every secret wish, every fevered longing, and those who heard him fell willingly into his embrace. For Asmodeus was the master of the dance, the eternal seduction that devours both spirit and flesh. In the days of the kingdom of Israel, Asmodeus found a new stage upon which to play his cruel game. There was a girl named Sarah, beautiful and doomed, for she was loved by the demon himself. 7 times she had wed, and 7 times her husbands had died before they could know her. On each wedding night, Asmodeus would slip from the darkness, unseen, but all too present. He would breathe a kiss of death upon each groom's lips, and watch with cold amusement as they crumbled to dust and bone. Sarah wept in the silent hours of the night, her sobs echoing in the hollow halls of her father's house. But Asmodeus did not care for her tears. In her sorrow, he found his pleasure, each note of heartbreak a melody to his ears. He did not kill from hatred, nor from jealousy alone. He killed because it was his nature, to consume, to corrupt, to feast upon the tender hope of the heart. And so the laughter of Asmodeus filled Sarah's nights, a cruel lullaby that only she could hear. But the divine is never deaf to mortal pain. In the realm of shimmering light, the archangel Raphael heard the weeping of Sarah's soul. He descended like a sword of dawn, his wings woven from the first light of creation. He came not with thunder or fury, but with the quiet promise of salvation. And he whispered to Tobias, the son of Tobit, who would be Sarah's 8th groom. "There is a way to break the hold of this demon," Raphael said, "but you must be brave, and you must be cunning." On their wedding night, Tobias did as the angel commanded. He burned the liver and heart of a fish, and the smoke rose in curling tendrils, white and pure. It coiled around the room, a serpent of light that drove Asmodeus from his hidden lair. The demon shrieked in a voice of rusted iron. He fled to the deserts of Egypt, his form a storm of shadows. There, Raphael awaited him, a hunter in the darkness. Chains of celestial light bound Asmodeus, but they did not destroy him. For lust is eternal, and Asmodeus was its living echo. Bound in the sands of Egypt, Asmodeus did not sleep. He whispered to those who would listen, to the magi and the mad alike. In the secret places of the world, his name became a talisman of forbidden power. Some claimed that he took the shape of a serpent with a crown of flame. Others swore he walked as a man, tall and regal, his eyes glimmering with secrets too dark to speak. It was said that he was brought before King Solomon, the wise and mighty, who sought to bind every demon to his will. Solomon, with his ring of brass and iron, dared to command Asmodeus. He ordered him to labor in the building of the temple, to lay stone upon stone in the name of the Most High. Asmodeus obeyed, but in his heart he laughed, for he saw the weakness in every mortal's soul, even in the king who would rule him. When the hour came, he turned his cunning upon Solomon. He stole the ring, and for a time he sat upon the king's throne. In the shadowed courts of Jerusalem, Asmodeus ruled as a false king. He whispered into the hearts of priests and scribes, teaching them the pleasures of the flesh, the sweet poison of desire. His reign was brief, but its echoes lingered in the blood of the city. When Solomon regained his throne, Asmodeus was banished once more. But the demon's laughter still haunted the golden halls, a memory of the night when lust itself wore the crown. In the forbidden pages of the Testament of Solomon, a tale is told of Asmodeus's confession. Bound in chains of light, he spoke of his dominion. "I am the demon of desire," he said, his voice a silken thread of darkness. "I twist the hearts of men and women alike, leading them to ruin with a single glance. I am the hunger that can never be sated, the kiss that devours." He told Solomon of his power over newlyweds, how he sowed discord in the marriage bed and turned love to dust. He told of the fish whose smoke could drive him away, an irony that delighted him, for what is lust but a hunger for what cannot be tamed? Even bound, Asmodeus was not humbled. He was a prince of the infernal host, and his pride was as vast as the night sky. Through the ages, Asmodeus's legend grew. In the cathedrals of Europe, monks spoke his name in hushed terror, warning of the demon who slipped into the dreams of the chaste and devoured their vows with a smile. In the whispered lore of the Middle Ages, he was the patron of adulterers, the secret lover of every fallen nun. They said that in the dead of night, he would come with a rose of midnight in his hand, offering pleasures that no mortal could resist. His laughter became the echo of every scandal, every betrayal. In the flicker of candlelight, in the rustle of silken sheets, he was there, an invisible guest at every feast of the flesh. Yet for all his beauty, there was no love in Asmodeus's heart. His passion was a furnace that consumed without warmth, a blaze that left only ash behind. Those who gave themselves to him found not ecstasy, but oblivion. He wove his dance across the centuries, slipping from lover to lover, a ghost of desire that left the soul hollowed. His name became a shiver in the darkness, a sigh of longing that turned to a scream of regret. And so he waits in the shadows of every heart, a prince of lust, a lord of ruin. For Asmodeus is not merely a demon of old. He is the hunger that lives in every mortal breast, the dark reflection of our own secret longings. He is the embodiment of lust, the devourer of both spirit and flesh. And his laughter, oh, his laughter still echoes in the hearts of the damned. In the swirling abyss that lies beyond mortal comprehension, a realm of shadows and flickering light, there rises a palace of black marble and blood-red silk. This is the infernal domain of Asmodeus, the embodiment of lust, and it is here that he reigns as sovereign over every soul corrupted by carnal hunger. The walls of his palace pulse like the beating of a monstrous heart, alive with whispers of passion and cries of longing. Rivers of molten crimson flow beneath the arching bridges of bone, their heat perfuming the air with the sweet, cloying scent of forbidden pleasure. It is a place that trembles with the music of unending temptation, every note a promise of delight and damnation. Asmodeus sits upon a throne of obsidian, carved into the shape of entwined lovers caught in an eternal embrace. His form shimmers between beauty and monstrosity, a face of angelic perfection one moment, then shifting into a mask of reptilian hunger the next. His eyes are pools of liquid night, reflecting every hidden desire that mortals dare not speak aloud. Around him gather the succubi and incubi, his loyal courtiers and lovers, each a masterpiece of sin sculpted from flesh and shadow. They weave through the halls of the palace in an endless waltz, their laughter like chimes of shattered glass. Their skin glows with the stolen warmth of mortal hearts, and their touch leaves mortals shuddering, lost in delirious dreams of lust. Deeper still lies the chamber of mirrors, a sanctum where Asmodeus himself conjures illusions to ensnare the unwary. Here, each mirror holds a reflection of the viewer's deepest, most secret longings. A pious cleric might see himself tangled in forbidden trysts, while a devoted lover sees the face of betrayal and pleasure intertwined. Asmodeus delights in these glimpses of hidden shame. He walks among the mirrors, a phantom of desire, his laughter echoing in the glass. "Look upon yourselves," he whispers. "See the truth that lies beneath your masks." Those who linger in the chamber of mirrors are lost. They become prisoners of their own passions, their souls fractured into 1,000 shards of wanting. And Asmodeus drinks deeply of their torment. Each sigh and moan a tribute to his power. Beyond the chamber of mirrors is the choir of sighs, a vast, vaulted hall where voices of the damned rise in a chorus of pleasure and agony. Here Asmodeus's conquests sing their own ruin, each note a confession of sin. Their voices are soft as silk, yet laced with a yearning that never ends. In this choir, the once chaste and the once pure stand side by side with the willfully damned. There is no distinction in the court of Asmodeus, only the endless echo of desire unbound. Their song weaves a spell that seeps into the very stones of the palace, a lullaby of lust that promises oblivion. Asmodeus stands at the heart of this choir, a conductor of ruin. He raises a single finger, and the voices swell into a symphony of corruption that rattles the iron gates of hell itself. On nights when the pale moon rides high over the infernal plains, Asmodeus hosts the feast of flesh, a banquet unlike any mortal revel. The tables groan beneath platters of sin, forbidden fruits that burst with nectar sweet as blood, goblets of wine that taste of moonlight and broken vows. His courtiers dance among the guests, offering morsels of pleasure that burn like liquid fire. The air is heavy with incense that twists the mind and unravels the soul. Each touch is a promise, each glance a snare. Those who partake in the feast of flesh find themselves forever changed. Their hearts beat in time with Asmodeus's laughter, and their dreams become altars upon which they sacrifice their innocence, night after night. At the center of this kingdom stands the throne of ecstasy, an altar and a seat of power carved from the bones of 1,000 mortal lovers. It pulses with a dark energy, a rhythm older than sin itself. Asmodeus sits here in regal repose, his fingers tracing patterns of fire in the air. With each flick of his hand, he sends out ripples of temptation that cross the veil between hell and earth, caressing the hearts of mortals and luring them ever closer to the abyss. His voice is a velvet caress, his commands woven from the threads of desire. "Come," he whispers, and the purest souls tremble with want. "Kneel," he breathes, and the proudest hearts bow in surrender. For to hear the voice of Asmodeus is to hear the echo of every longing, every secret hunger that ever stirred in the dark. Asmodeus is not alone in his court. His legions are countless, each one a fragment of his boundless hunger given form. The succubi and incubi move like smoke through the mortal realm, their kisses weaving chains of lust around the souls of the unwary. But there are others too, lesser demons with skin of shifting flame and eyes like dying stars. They are the servitors of Asmodeus, the architects of ruin. In the mortal world, they wear many guises, a lover's face in a dream, a fleeting glimpse of beauty in the shadows of a crowded room. Their task is simple: to sow desire, to whisper promises of rapture that end only in despair. Each mortal heart they claim is another offering to Asmodeus, a spark to feed the inferno that is his soul. Not all who seek Asmodeus are his prey. Some come to him willingly, driven by the fever of their own desires. They call upon him in the midnight hour, offering blood and breath in exchange for pleasures beyond imagining. And Asmodeus answers. In the darkness of their lonely chambers, he appears, a figure wreathed in shadows, his eyes gleaming with promise. "Speak your wish," he says, and his voice is a balm and a blade. They speak, of lovers spurned, of passions unfulfilled, of power to bend others to their will. Asmodeus listens with a smile, for each plea is music to him. And then, with a kiss of fire, he seals the pact. For every mortal who bargains with Asmodeus becomes both lover and slave, bound to the eternal waltz of lust that can never be sated. But there is always a price, and it is never as sweet as the first kiss. For the gift of Asmodeus is an endless hunger, a thirst that can never be quenched. Those who share his bed awaken with dreams that burn like coals beneath their skin. Each day they walk the world in a haze of wanting. Each night they return to the shadows, seeking the demon's touch. Their bodies become altars to his power, their souls hollowed out until there is nothing left but the echo of his laughter. And in the end, when the final breath shudders from their lips, they find themselves not in the arms of any mortal lover, but in the cold embrace of the demon who waits for them in the darkness. In the mortal realm, Asmodeus's touch can be felt in every fevered heartbeat, every stolen glance across a crowded room. He is there in the trembling lips of secret lovers, in the flushed cheeks of those who dream of forbidden caresses. Priests warn of his power, but they too are not immune to his whisper. Even in the cloisters of the devout, his shadow creeps, a serpent in the garden of virtue. For Asmodeus is the embodiment of the unspoken, the devourer of every hidden desire. His kingdom is not merely a palace of black marble, but the world itself, every bedroom, every silent prayer for passion in the dark. And his laughter, oh, his laughter still echoes from the infernal court to the mortal soul, a laughter that promises ecstasy and delivers only endless hunger. The realm of Asmodeus is not confined to the infernal darkness. His kingdom bleeds through the veil, seeping into every corner of the mortal world. For the hunger he commands is not foreign to the hearts of humankind. It is their own, reflected back at them in the demon's unholy mirror. He walks among mortals in 1,000 forms, each one tailored to the secret desires that burn in the quiet shadows of the soul. To some he is a fleeting vision in a fevered dream, a lover's caress that tastes of sweet oblivion. To others, he is a chance meeting in a crowded place, a stranger whose eyes promise everything and demand nothing. Asmodeus does not force himself upon mortals. He need not. The seeds of lust already live within them, buried beneath layers of shame and denial. He merely coaxes them to the surface, watering them with the whispered promises that mortal hearts crave. In the still hours of the night, when the world is wrapped in velvet silence, Asmodeus's voice comes like a sigh, a breath of warmth against the ear. "Why deny yourself?" he murmurs, and the question is a key that unlocks the door to every secret desire. For the lonely, he offers the illusion of belonging. For the faithful, he tempts with visions of forbidden pleasure. For the broken, he is the promise of escape, if only for a fleeting moment. He knows each mortal's weakness, the longing they bury, the yearning they fear, and he shapes himself to fit it perfectly, a lover sculpted from the clay of their own dreams. In the bustling cities, where neon lights paint the night with false dawns, Asmodeus moves unseen. He lingers in the pulse of music that pounds in crowded clubs, in the quickened breath of strangers dancing in the dark. His touch is in the heat of bodies pressed together, in the shiver that runs down the spine when the music drowns out every thought but want. He walks through the red light districts and the hidden rooms behind locked doors, his laughter the soundtrack of every tryst. But he is not confined to the fringes of society. He slips into the boardrooms and the marble halls of power, his hand guiding the deals struck in secret, the glances that promise more than they reveal. For Asmodeus knows that lust is not confined to the bed. It is in the ambition that drives the powerful, in the hunger for more that devours the soul. Asmodeus wears many faces in the mortal world. Sometimes he is the stranger who catches the eye across a crowded room, his smile a silent invitation. Sometimes he is the familiar lover whose touch grows cold and distant, feeding a hunger that can never be sated. He is the spark in the eyes of a spouse who strays, the ache in the heart of a friend who longs for more. His masks are endless, for each mortal he meets shapes him anew, a reflection of their own secret heart. To the artist, he is the muse whose touch brings forth visions of fevered beauty, leaving them hollow and spent. To the priest, he is the shadow in the confessional, the sin that no prayer can absolve. And to those who deny him, he is the echo of their own laughter in the dark, the voice that whispers, "You are mine." When Asmodeus truly chooses to claim a mortal, the world itself seems to bend around them. Colors grow sharper, sounds richer, every breath a taste of sweetness edged with poison. The air shimmers with the weight of unspoken promises. His presence is a heat that seeps into the marrow, a tremor that coils around the heart. Those who feel his touch find themselves caught in a dance they cannot escape, a waltz of wanting that ends only when the soul itself is consumed. For Asmodeus does not merely offer pleasure. He demands surrender. He demands devotion. And in that surrender, mortals find a fleeting glimpse of ecstasy that devours them whole. The mortals who give themselves to Asmodeus find themselves changed. Their nights are haunted by dreams of silken shadows and burning kisses. They wake with the taste of his name on their lips, their hearts racing with a hunger they can neither name nor deny. Some try to flee, to bury their desire in vows of chastity or prayers of repentance. But the demon's laughter follows them, a reminder that once the soul has tasted his touch, it can never be whole again. Others embrace the fire, letting it consume them. They become his instruments in the mortal world, lovers, betrayers, seducers. They carry his mark in every glance, every whispered promise. And in the end, when their bodies are spent and their spirits broken, they find themselves standing before the throne of ecstasy in the infernal palace of Asmodeus, another soul claimed by the Prince of Lust. Across the centuries, the stories of Asmodeus have woven themselves into the tapestry of mortal belief. In medieval Europe, priests thundered warnings from the pulpit, painting the demon as the seducer of nuns, the corrupter of chaste maidens. Yet even as they preached, they could not silence the whispers in the dark, the tales of those who sought out Asmodeus willingly, trading virtue for the promise of unearthly rapture. In the Renaissance, artists painted him as a dark Adonis, his beauty a weapon as sharp as any blade. Poets sang of his kiss, the sweet poison that turned love to madness. And in the hidden grimoires of the Magi, his name was inscribed in blood and ash, a key to the secrets of the flesh that few dared to turn. For in the end, Asmodeus is not merely a demon of lust. He is the embodiment of the mortal soul's own longing. His kingdom is built not from stone, but from the sighs and shivers of those who dare to dream of more. He is the dark reflection in every lover's eyes, the echo of every breathless plea for passion. He is the hunger that can never be sated, the flame that burns and devours and rises anew. And he is patient. He waits in the spaces between heartbeats, in the hush of a midnight prayer, for he knows that in every mortal breast beats a spark of the same fire that forged him, a hunger that no light can banish. In the quiet hours of the night, when the world is still and the stars burn cold, the laughter of Asmodeus echoes through the darkness. It is a laughter that promises and threatens, that caresses and devours. For the dance of lust is eternal, and the Prince of Desire never tires. His court is everywhere, and every mortal heart is a throne upon which he sits, if only for a moment, if only for a breath. And as long as mortals dream of more, of touch and taste and the shiver of the soul, Asmodeus will be there, smiling in the dark, waiting to weave his dance once more. In the hidden places of the world, where shadows cling to the stones and the air tastes of secrets, there are those who do not fear the name of Asmodeus. They do not tremble at the echo of his laughter or flee from the heat of his touch. Instead, they gather in the darkness to worship, to offer themselves to the Prince of Lust in rites older than memory and darker than the deepest night. These are the cults of Asmodeus, mortals who have embraced his hunger as their own, who seek in his embrace the ecstasy that devours, the flame that consumes the soul. In crumbling catacombs beneath ancient cities, where the bones of saints lie forgotten, the cults of Asmodeus build their secret temples. Flickering candles cast trembling shadows on walls of cracked stone, and the air is heavy with the scent of incense and sweat. The altars are draped in crimson and black, woven from silken cloth that whispers against the skin. Symbols of desire are carved into the cold marble, entwined serpents, blooming roses of shadow, eyes that watch from every corner. Here, the worshippers gather in the dead of night, their faces hidden behind masks of silver and bone. They come not to pray for forgiveness, but to offer themselves in the dance of flesh and spirit. Each breath, each touch, is a hymn to the Lord of Lust. At the heart of these gatherings lies the ritual of the crimson veil, a rite that binds mortal flesh to the infernal hunger of Asmodeus. The high priestess, veiled in blood-red silk, leads the worshippers in a dance that coils around the soul like a serpent of flame. Her voice is a low chant, each word a key that unlocks the doors of forbidden longing. "Let your shame fall away," she whispers, her hands weaving patterns of fire in the air. "Let your hunger be your prayer." One by one, the worshippers shed their mortal masks, their bodies offered in the dance. In the flickering candlelight, they move as one, a living tapestry of desire, each sigh a thread that binds them to the Prince of Lust. And in the shadows, Asmodeus watches. His laughter is a caress in the air, his presence a heat that seeps into the marrow. For in this dance, he is both witness and master, the devourer of every trembling heart. Those who would offer themselves fully to Asmodeus seek the ultimate union, the pact of blood and breath. In this binding, the soul itself is pledged to the demon's service, a gift of life and death. The pact is sealed with a kiss of flame, a brand upon the flesh, invisible to mortal eyes, but burning in the soul like a wound that never heals. The breath of Asmodeus fills the lungs of the devotee, each exhalation a promise of pleasure and oblivion. From that moment, they are his. His hunger becomes their own, his desires the pulse that drives their every step. They walk the world as shadows of the infernal court, weaving the dance of temptation in every glance, every whispered word. The cults of Asmodeus are many and varied, their rituals as different as the souls who serve them. In the cities of the living, some hide behind the mask of respectability, gathering in velvet-draped parlors where the scent of roses hides the reek of sin. Others wear their devotion openly, marked by the brand of the Prince of Lust, a tattoo of intertwined thorns, a ring of black iron worn always close to the skin. They walk the night in search of new disciples, their laughter the siren call that leads the unwary into the shadows. But whether hidden or brazen, all who serve Asmodeus share the same hunger, a longing that can never be sated, a dance that ends only in the cold embrace of the infernal court. Yet the path of devotion is not without its price. For Asmodeus demands more than flesh, he demands the soul itself. Those who give themselves to his cults find their mortal lives unraveling, thread by thread. Friends become strangers, lovers become betrayers, as the dance of desire devours all bonds. The world grows thin and unreal, each breath a step deeper into the labyrinth of lust. And in the end, when the mortal shell can bear no more, they are drawn down into the darkness, into the palace of black marble and crimson silk, where Asmodeus waits with open arms. There, they will join the eternal waltz of the damned, their voices rising in the choir of sighs, each note a testament to the power of the Prince of Lust. Throughout the ages, whispers of Asmodeus's cults have haunted the dreams of kings and priests alike. In the courts of Byzantium, it was said that the empress herself wore the brand of the demon beneath her silken robes. In the monasteries of the north, monks told of secret rites conducted beneath moonlit arches, where vows of chastity were unmade in the name of desire. Even in the modern world, where the light of reason burns bright, the cults of Asmodeus endure. They hide behind the glow of screens and the anonymity of digital masks, their rites conducted in the hush of chat rooms and the flicker of stolen video. For Asmodeus is eternal, and the hunger he embodies knows no end. As long as mortals dream of pleasure, as long as they ache for the touch that devours, the cults of Asmodeus will thrive. And so the song of Asmodeus plays on, weaving through the ages, a melody of longing that echoes in every mortal heart. His cults are but one thread in this symphony, a testament to the power of desire to shape the soul and unmake it in the same breath. In the dance of Asmodeus, there is no beginning and no end. Only the eternal hunger, the laughter that echoes in the darkness, and the touch that leaves the soul trembling. For to serve Asmodeus is to surrender to the dance of lust, a dance that devours, a dance that endures beyond flesh and breath. In the shadowed corners of mortal history, where the scent of burnt parchment lingers and the light of the sun dares not reach, there are books that whisper of forbidden knowledge. Grimoires bound in human skin, written in inks of blood and venom, hold secrets that even the bravest fear to seek. And among these cursed tomes, the name of Asmodeus is inscribed in 1,000 variations, each a key to a door that should never be opened. For Asmodeus is not merely a prince of lust, he is a master of dark magic, a weaver of pacts that blur the line between mortal longing and infernal power. His summoning is an art of perilous beauty, a dance of blood and breath that binds the soul to the eternal hunger. Among the most infamous of these forbidden texts is the Book of Veiled Desires, a manuscript said to have been penned by the mad alchemist Erastes of Thessalonica. Its pages crackle with an energy that tastes of honey and ash, each word a thread that weaves a tapestry of ruin. The book speaks of the ways to call upon Asmodeus, circles of salt and rose petals, candles of black beeswax that flicker with the sighs of the damned. It describes the offerings he demands, flesh willingly given, breath exhaled in ecstasy, the taste of mortal longing distilled into a single drop of crimson. Those who read the book find their dreams haunted by a figure who watches from the shadows, his laughter a lullaby that both soothes and sears. And when the final incantation is spoken, Asmodeus comes, not in fury, but in hunger. The most infamous of the rites described in the Book of Veiled Desires is the rite of the seventh veil, a summoning that calls Asmodeus from his infernal throne to the mortal realm. The rite begins with the shedding of mortal shame, a disrobing of both flesh and spirit. The summoner stands within a circle of black salt, their body anointed with oils that shimmer like moonlight on water. Each veil removed is a vow broken, a step deeper into the labyrinth of lust. The final veil is the soul itself, offered freely to the Prince of Lust. When it falls, Asmodeus steps from the darkness, his form flickering between angelic beauty and bestial hunger. He speaks no words at first, only a soft laughter that coils around the summoner's heart. Then, with a single touch, he seals the pact. To bind Asmodeus is to invite his essence into the mortal blood. The seal of Asmodeus, an ancient sigil traced in blood and breath, is etched into the air with fingers trembling between terror and ecstasy. Its lines curve like the arch of a lover's back, its loops as sinuous as a serpent's coil. Once drawn, it cannot be erased. It pulses with a life of its own, a silent heartbeat that calls to the demon across the veil. The summoner who dares to speak the final invocation finds their voice consumed by Asmodeus's laughter. Their body trembles as the shadows of the infernal court slip through the cracks of the world, brushing against their skin in phantom caresses. And when he comes not as a conqueror, but as a lover whose kiss is a promise of ruin. The power that Asmodeus grants is real. His touch can make the blood sing, the soul burn brighter than any mortal fire. Those who call upon him may find themselves blessed with gifts of unearthly allure, of passion that bends others to their will. Yet every gift he grants is a chain, every pleasure a thread in the snare he weaves. For the power of Asmodeus does not come freely. It is bought with the currency of the soul. The summoner finds their dreams claimed by the Prince of Lust. Each night becomes a pilgrimage to his court, each breath a step deeper into the dance that can never end. In the waking world, they carry the mark of his hunger, an echo in the eyes, a tremor in the voice that calls to others like a siren's song. And in the end, when the mortal vessel is spent, there is no peace, only the embrace of Asmodeus, waiting in the shadows with a smile that promises both ecstasy and oblivion. Not all who seek the power of Asmodeus are worshippers of lust alone. In the hidden libraries of the world, alchemists and heretics pore over the secret texts, seeking the essence of the demon's hunger as a key to their own dark transformations. They believe that to master the dance of Asmodeus is to master the very essence of desire, the spark that drives creation and destruction alike. They distill his essence into potions that promise beauty beyond mortal reckoning, charms that ensnare the hearts of kings. But even the most learned of them cannot escape the price. For the hunger of Asmodeus is not content with mere flesh. It devours the soul, leaving only a hollow echo that walks in mortal skin. History is littered with the bones of those who dared to summon Asmodeus. Some rose to heights of power and passion that burned their names into legend, courtesans who bent empires to their will, kings who traded crowns for a single night in the demon's embrace. Others vanished into the shadows, their names whispered only in fear. Their stories end in madness, in blood, in laughter that echoes from the crypts of the forgotten. Yet for each who falls, another steps forward, drawn by the promise of pleasure that no mortal lover can grant. And so the cycle continues, an eternal dance of flesh and spirit that feeds the hunger of Asmodeus. There is a legend that speaks of a grimoire that is not ink and parchment, but living flesh, a book that wears the skin of those who seek it, each page a soul devoured by Asmodeus. This living grimoire whispers its secrets only to those who dare to offer themselves wholly. It promises the final secrets of the Prince of Lust, the ultimate key to his power, the final note in the symphony of desire. But those who find it never return. They vanish into the embrace of the demon, their bodies left behind as empty husks, their souls woven into the tapestry of Asmodeus's eternal kingdom. For the final lesson of Asmodeus is this, that all hunger is a prayer, and all prayers in the end belong to him. In the endless labyrinth of hell, where each corridor is a monument to mortal sin and every hall echoes with the cries of the damned, there stands a throne carved from the ruin of 1,000 desires. Upon this throne sits Asmodeus, his laughter weaving through the darkness like a song of silk and flame. He is no mere demon among demons. He is a prince of the infernal realm, a sovereign whose dominion is etched into the very bones of creation. His kingdom is lust, but his rule is absolute, his hand shaping the passions of mortals and demons alike. The court of Asmodeus is a place of fevered beauty and cruel delight. Its halls are draped in velvet shadows, its floors polished obsidian that reflects every secret sin. The air shivers with whispers of longing, and each breath tastes of incense and blood. Around him gather the lords and ladies of the infernal host, archdemons of wrath and gluttony, of envy and pride. They pay him homage, for even they cannot deny the power of his domain. Lust is the spark that ignites all other sins, the whisper that unravels every vow. In his presence the damned kneel not in chains, but in trembling devotion. For Asmodeus does not rule through terror alone. He rules through the promise of ecstasy, through the seduction of power that binds more surely than any iron fetter. In the infernal order, Asmodeus stands among the greatest of princes, third in power in some grimoires, though others place him even higher. His title echoes through the shadowed realms: King of Lust, Lord of the Ninth, Prince of the Burning Heart. Yet titles alone do not define his power. It is in the hearts of mortals that Asmodeus's true throne lies. Each sigh, each fleeting caress, each secret ache of the soul is a prayer offered to him, a tribute that weaves his dominion tighter around the world of the living. His courtiers are legion, succubi and incubi who slip between worlds like whispers of silk, lesser demons whose touch leaves mortal hearts quivering. Each serves him not out of fear, but from a hunger that mirrors his own, an endless dance of wanting and taking, of giving and devouring. To the other lords of hell, Asmodeus is both rival and ally. He plays their endless games of power with a smile, weaving webs of lust that snare even the proudest of demons. When the Prince of Pride seeks to claim a soul, Asmodeus is there, his laughter a soft promise in the dark. When the Lord of Wrath rages against the chains of his own fury, Asmodeus whispers of pleasures that soothe the blaze, only to stoke it higher in the end. He is the secret hunger that drives every ambition, the spark that turns every sin to wildfire. In the councils of hell, his voice is soft but irresistible, a melody that coils around every decree, every command, until none can say where their own will ends and his begins. The throne upon which Asmodeus sits is said to be carved from the bones of those who offered themselves in passion, mortals and angels alike who surrendered to the call of lust. Each bone bears a story, each curve a testament to the price of desire. When Asmodeus leans back upon this throne, the air itself seems to pulse with a rhythm older than the world. His eyes flicker like dying stars, and his laughter is a shiver in the soul. Those who stand before this throne find themselves stripped bare, not of flesh, but of every lie they tell themselves. In his gaze, there is no room for shame or denial, only the truth of what they crave, and the promise that he alone can give it to them. There are stories, whispers in the hidden grimoires, of angels who fell not through wrath or pride, but through the soft touch of Asmodeus's hand. For even in the celestial host, there are hearts that burn with longing, wings that tremble at the thought of a touch that devours. Asmodeus does not break such souls with violence. He unravels them with a smile, a breath, a promise that tastes of both sin and salvation. And when they fall, they do so willingly, offering their halos as crowns at his feet, their wings as mantles for his court. These fallen ones become his most trusted servants, their purity turned to a blade that cuts deeper than any mortal sin. They move through the mortal world like ghosts of longing, weaving the dance of lust that binds both heaven and earth. The music of Asmodeus's court is a song that never ends. It is the moan of a lover's breath, the gasp of a soul that teeters on the edge of surrender. It is the echo of every mortal heart that ever dared to dream of more. In this music, there is no peace, only the endless promise of fulfillment that devours even as it delights. Each note is a thread in the tapestry of sin, each chord a step in the dance that leads only deeper into the shadows. And at the heart of this song sits Asmodeus, his fingers weaving the melody of ruin with a grace that is both beautiful and terrible. For in his court, there is no difference between pleasure and pain, between the prayer of a lover and the final sigh of the damned. It is said that even the saints feel the shadow of Asmodeus's laughter. In the cloisters of the faithful, where prayers rise like incense, there is always one voice that trembles with the memory of a touch too sweet to forget. For Asmodeus is patient. He does not need to claim the soul of every mortal, only to plant the seed of longing that grows in the quiet hours of the night. The vow of chastity becomes a chain of silk, each link forged in secret dreams that burn brighter with every denial. And when the final vow breaks, it does so not with a cry of horror, but with a sigh of surrender. For the hunger that Asmodeus kindles is as old as creation itself, and as eternal. So Asmodeus rules, not with an iron fist, but with a lover's touch that leaves no heart untouched. His throne is built not from mortal stone, but from the sighs and tears of those who dare to dream of more. He is the sovereign of desire, the prince of the endless dance. And as long as there are hearts that beat with longing, as long as there are souls that tremble at the thought of a touch that devours, his reign will endure. For the throne of Asmodeus is not merely a seat of power, it is the echo of every mortal heart, the hunger that lies in the shadows of every soul. In the endless twilight of the infernal kingdom, where shadows flicker like candle flames and the air itself tastes of forbidden delights, Asmodeus sits upon his throne and contemplates a truth older than creation. That love and lust are twins, each a reflection of the other, each a snare that binds the soul in chains of longing. His laughter echoes through the halls of his palace, a music of silken promises and broken sighs. For Asmodeus knows that in every mortal heart, love and lust are intertwined, a dance of tenderness and hunger that can lift the soul to ecstasy or drag it down into the abyss. There is a legend whispered in the hidden libraries of the damned, a tale of the first mortal who dared to love Asmodeus. She was a priestess of the moon, her soul as radiant as the silver light she worshipped. Her prayers were pure, her heart untainted by the shadow of desire. But Asmodeus saw the secret longing that lived behind her eyes, a longing for something more than the cold, distant light of her goddess. He came to her in the dark, his voice a caress of velvet, his laughter a promise of pleasures beyond the reach of mortal dreams. With a single kiss, he claimed her, and in that kiss, she found both heaven and hell. For the touch of Asmodeus is a blessing and a curse, a flame that warms and consumes in the same breath. She gave herself to him willingly, and in her surrender, she found a rapture that eclipsed every prayer she had ever spoken. Yet when the dawn came, she wept. For the kiss of Asmodeus lingers forever, a memory that devours all others. To love Asmodeus is to walk a blade of fire, each step a choice between delight and despair. His embrace is tender, his touch a balm that soothes the ache of mortal loneliness. Yet beneath that tenderness lies a hunger that knows no mercy. For Asmodeus does not love as mortals do. His passion is an inferno, beautiful, all-consuming, and utterly indifferent to the ruin it leaves behind. Those who offer him their hearts find themselves caught in a storm of wanting. Every caress is a promise of fulfillment, yet each breath draws them deeper into a longing that can never be satisfied. And so they dance in his arms, their souls shivering with pleasure and terror. For in the end, they know that the love of Asmodeus is both the sweetest of blessings and the most exquisite of tortures. Throughout the ages, there have been mortals who dared to call themselves the lovers of Asmodeus. Some were queens who traded kingdoms for a single night in his arms, their crowns melting in the heat of his embrace. Others were poets who wove his name into verses of longing that echoed through the centuries. Each found in him a beauty that no mortal lover could match, a tenderness that cut deeper than any blade. Yet each also found the price of his passion, a hunger that devoured the soul, leaving only a hollow echo of what once was. For Asmodeus does not take the soul by force. He waits, patient and smiling, as his lovers offer it willingly, piece by trembling piece. And when the final thread of mortal longing is his, he claims it with a kiss that tastes of both rapture and oblivion. In the infernal palace of Asmodeus, the walls whisper with the voices of those who loved him and were unmade. Their sighs weave a tapestry of devotion, a testament to the paradox of his love. Some remain by his side as shades of desire, their eyes forever fixed upon his beauty. They are his courtiers in the endless waltz, each step a confession of the longing that binds them still. Others are lost in the labyrinth of their own dreams, wandering the halls of the infernal kingdom in search of the touch that once consumed them. Their cries are the music of the court, a chorus of longing that never ends. For to love Asmodeus is to surrender to a hunger that can never be sated, a hunger that becomes the very breath of the soul. Yet even in the mortal realm, the echo of Asmodeus's love endures. Those who have felt his touch carry its mark in every heartbeat, every secret sigh. A scholar who reads forbidden texts by candlelight, his fingers tracing words that taste of honey and ash. A lover who wakes in the night, trembling with the memory of a dream too vivid to be mere fancy. A priest who kneels before an empty altar, his prayers faltering on lips that remember the taste of sin. They are all bound to the dance of Asmodeus, their lives a testament to the paradox he embodies, that the greatest ecstasy can be the deepest wound, and that to love him is to be forever marked by the fire of his kiss. In the end, the love of Asmodeus is not a mortal love. It is an echo of the first hunger, the spark that gave birth to creation and now devours it from within. It is a love that promises everything and demands nothing, save the soul itself. And so he waits in the shadows, his laughter soft as a lover's breath, his hand outstretched to those who dare to dream of more. For he knows that in every heart there is a longing that calls to him, a prayer that only he can answer. Those who find the courage to take his hand will discover the truth of his love, that it is both a blessing and a curse, both the light that guides and the darkness that devours. For to love Asmodeus is to become one with the endless dance, a dance of passion and devastation that echoes in the soul forever. In the hush of eternity, where even the light of the stars dare not linger, there is a final truth that waits in the darkness, that every soul claimed by Asmodeus, every heart that surrenders to his kiss, becomes a note in the symphony of his endless reign. His laughter echoes through the infernal halls, a melody of silk and flame, as he watches the dance of desire play out in the mortal world. For in the end, all longing returns to him, each sigh a prayer, each tear a promise. In the mortal realm, the price of Asmodeus's touch is paid in 1,000 small deaths, each one a surrender of self, a letting go of the fragile walls that separate the soul from the abyss. A lover lies in a darkened room, their breath ragged with the memory of a kiss that tasted of starlight and sin. In the quiet hours before dawn, they whisper his name, though they dare not admit it even to themselves. A priest stands before an altar of cold stone, his lips moving in prayers that taste of ash. Yet in his heart, there is a hunger that no hymn can silence, a hunger that answers to the laughter of the Prince of Lust. A poet weaves verses by moonlight, each word a confession of the longing that devours him. His pen is an instrument of surrender, every line a testament to the touch that once claimed his soul. And so they all pay the price, mortal hearts that beat to the rhythm of Asmodeus's laughter, mortal souls that burn with the echo of his eternal hunger. For those who have given themselves fully to Asmodeus, there is no escape. When the final breath leaves their lips, they find themselves standing in the infernal court, their souls laid bare before the throne of ecstasy. There Asmodeus waits, his eyes glimmering with the promise of pleasures yet unimagined, his hand outstretched in invitation. "Come," he says, his voice a melody that shivers in the bones. "Dance with me one last time." And they do. They step into his embrace, their spirits trembling with both terror and delight. For they know that in this final dance, they will find the fulfillment of every secret hunger, the answer to every unspoken prayer. Yet they also know that in the arms of Asmodeus, there is no return, only the endless echo of longing, the endless laughter of the Prince of Lust. In the palace of Asmodeus, the voices of the damned rise in a chorus that never ends. Each soul claimed by his kiss becomes a note in the music of ruin, their cries and sighs woven into a tapestry of dark beauty. They sing not in sorrow, but in a passion that burns brighter than any mortal fire. For in Asmodeus's embrace, they have found the final truth, that the soul itself is a candle, its light flickering in the storm of desire. And so they sing, their voices echoing in the halls of black marble and crimson silk. Their song is a hymn to the hunger that devours, a prayer to the prince who waits in the shadows. Asmodeus listens to their song with a smile, his laughter soft as moonlight and sharp as the edge of a blade. For he knows that this is the final secret of desire, that it never ends, never fades, never dies. It is the flame that burns at the heart of every mortal soul, the echo of creation itself. It is the promise of ecstasy and the price of surrender, the dance that binds and unbinds in the same breath. And as long as there are hearts that beat with longing, as long as there are souls that dream of a touch that devours, his laughter will echo in the darkness, an endless music of sin and salvation. So ends the tale of Asmodeus. Yet in truth, it does not end. For the Prince of Lust is eternal, his throne built not of stone and shadow, but of the secret hunger that lives in every heart. In the mortal world, his name is spoken only in whispers, his image glimpsed in dreams that leave the soul trembling. Yet he is always there, waiting in the darkness with a smile that promises everything and demands everything in return. He is the dance that devours, the laughter that echoes forever. And to those who dare to take his hand, he offers a single eternal truth, that in the end, all longing belongs to him,